The Teutonic Knights weren't holy warriors. They built Europe's first multinational corporation with papal tax exemption. 1190 AD, Acre, Third Crusade, 12 German knights receive a bull from Pope Celestine III, full fiscal independence, the right to conquer lands, and to keep the profits. Not charity, but venture capital for holy war. By 1211, they already run hundreds of castles and a professional brotherhood of knight administrators. Their Venice trading post quietly processes crusade donations, turning pious gifts into pure profit. Prussian expansion from 1230 to 1280 becomes a land acquisition machine. Grandmaster Hermann von Salsa negotiates with Polish Duke Conrad of Mazovia. Clear pagan lands and keep what you can hold. The result is about 1 million hectares taken tax-free. A standard deal. One knight controls a big estate and owes fixed grain tax to the order. Thousands of such knights guarantee steady revenue. Every conquered village pays a share of its harvest forever. Pagans have no legal rights to resist this system. Indulgences work like IPO shares. One sinner pays in silver for a crusade indulgence and receives eternal salvation on parchment. Between 1220 and 1250, tens of thousands of German pilgrims buy this forgiveness, giving the order a constant capital inflow. The returns beat Italian banks 2 centuries before the Medici. Papal bulls lock in the model. Donations to the Teutons equal the merit of a Jerusalem pilgrimage. The Livonian branch taps into the fear of hell among Riga merchants and collects its own stream of cash. By 1260, they run a multinational structure. Prussian HQ at Marienburg holds around 2,000 residents, protected by a ring of 7 brick castles. The mint there strikes tens of thousands of silver pennies each year. The Livonian franchise, about 300 knights, controls the Riga-Dorpat trade route and taxes customs at a profitable rate. In the Holy Land, the Acre Fortress manages Venetian shipping contracts for a solid fee. Around 1265, total order revenue already dwarfs the Polish royal budget, turning a religious order into a regional fiscal superpower. Marienburg functions as a central bank for the Baltic. It accepts deposits from Hanseatic merchants at attractive interest and still undercuts many Italian competitors. The order issues brotherhood letters, early bills of exchange, redeemable in Venice or Bruges within months. Castle construction is standardized. A stone fortress has a fixed cost, a predictable 3-year build, and a long lifespan. Each houses over 100 knights and their staff, generating far more in rent-free income than it costs to build. By 1280, the controlled territory produces around 800,000 tons of grain yearly. Export contracts send a large fraction of this to Flanders at a set price, generating hundreds of thousands of marks in gross revenue. After operating costs, the net profit exceeds the combined nightly incomes of many lords in the Holy Roman Empire. Along the Samland coast, about a dozen tons of amber per year are harvested and sold to Cologne jewelers at premium prices, giving the order a de facto monopoly on Europe's amber market. Polish vassals pay a percentage of their GDP to the order for protection. Mazovia alone sends thousands of marks per year. Lithuanian princes, after failed campaigns, pay tribute in silver and slaves. The order resells captives for more silver on German markets. Together, these tributary flows create a passive revenue stream. The Grand Master is elected for life by 12 senior knights, an early form of corporate governance. The treasurer maintains several ledgers: grain, amber, donations, ransoms, taxes, shipping, real estate. Every knight must submit regular reports or risk excommunication. One knight costs roughly a few dozen marks per year to maintain, but is expected to generate several times more in land income and plunder rights, giving a return on investment of several 100%. Scaled to about 10,000 knights, the system implies total profits in the million-mark range. The Venice partnership ships roughly 1,500,000 tons of grain yearly on Venetian galleys for a generous commission, while amber and spice countertrade on return voyages adds extra double-digit margins. By 1309, after relocation to Marienburg, the Teutonic Order controls about 200,000 square kilometers of territory, bigger than England. Its annual budget of roughly 180,000 marks beats the combined crowns of Poland, Lithuania, and Hungary. Infrastructure includes around 300 castles, 50 deep-water ports, 2,000 kilometers of internal roads, and 15 mints striking its own coinage. This is no longer a conventional military order. It is a medieval multinational with a papal charter, a grain-based IPO, an amber monopoly, and nightly mercenaries delivering about 15% annual returns. The Medici Bank appears more than a century too late. The Dutch East India Company is more than 3 centuries behind. Lloyd's Marine Insurance will only formalize contracts the Teutons were already practicing as they process Europe's grain, amber, and souls through a tightly audited castle network. In 1309, Marienburg emerged as the Teutonic Order's central stronghold, a sprawling complex of interconnected castles that stood as an impregnable fortress along the Baltic shores. This vast citadel, with its towering walls and intricate moat system capable of flooding surrounding lands, housed a thriving community and served as the administrative heart of the Order's expanding domain. At its core operated a mint that produced high-purity silver coins, each stamped with the Grand Master's seal, generating steady revenues through the privilege of seigniorage. Nearby, a shipyard crafted vessels essential for navigating rivers and facilitating the export of vital commodities such as grain to distant markets in Flanders via the Vistula route to Danzig. The Order's grip on amber reached its height between 1320 and 1370, drawing from the rich deposits along the Samland coast. Deep shafts yielded this coveted gold of the north, which artisans in Königsberg workshops transformed into exquisite pieces for the courts of Italy and Burgundy. Prices for amber climbed steadily over decades, fueling substantial income as the Teutons dominated the European supply, outmaneuvering rivals through strategic campaigns and trade controls. Even the English crown sought regular shipments for royal adornments, underscoring the Order's commanding position in this luxury trade. Grain production formed the backbone of the Teutonic economy, flourishing across vast Prussian estates by the mid-14th century. Fixed export agreements ensured steady flows from Danzig's harbors, where Hanseatic ships carried cargoes to bustling ports like London and Bruges. This agricultural prowess not only sustained the Order's operations, but also generated surpluses that rivaled the customs revenues of contemporary kingdoms, supporting knightly stipends, vessel maintenance, and fortifications. In Livonia, the Order optimized its holdings by 1340, levying customs on the lucrative fur trade routes from Novgorod through corridors like Riga to Dorpat. Valuable pelts and wax passed under Teutonic oversight, yielding pure profits, while harbors such as Reval imposed duties on herring catches. Knights maintained a network of castles across the region, balancing upkeep costs with returns from these economic ventures, which provided a solid foundation for the Order's northern branch. Preparations for prolonged conflicts, including the 13 Years' War from 1350 to 1454, honed the Teutons into a formidable military force. The Order sustained thousands of knight brothers equipped with standardized armor, steeds, and weaponry, drawing a significant portion of revenues for defense. Battlefield successes often yielded ransoms from captured foes,
offsetting the high costs of armament and allowing the order to maintain its edge in regional power struggles. Mint operations expanded by 1435, with facilities scattered across Prussia and Livonia producing coins that circulated widely. The Königsberg Mint stood out for its output, and subtle reforms in currency composition enhanced profits without disrupting trade values, reflecting the order's savvy in monetary affairs. Close ties with the Hanseatic League amplified the Teutons' logistical reach. Danzig's docks buzzed with grain carriers, amber-laden cogs, and protective warships, where harbor fees bolstered coffers. River ports like Thorn managed transshipments around challenging waterways, while Elbing collected tolls from overland traffic, weaving the order into the fabric of northern European commerce. By 1400, the Teutonic state had achieved a financial zenith, drawing revenues from grain exports, amber monopolies, minting, Livonian customs, Hanseatic partnerships, and occasional tributes or spoils. Expenditures focused on military readiness, castle upkeep, knightly support, and ecclesiastical obligations, yielding healthy margins that compared favorably to those of Venetian merchants. Under Grand Master Ulrich von Jungingen from 1404, the order navigated mounting tensions, including preparations for campaigns that strained resources but demonstrated administrative resilience. Livonian efforts diversified in the 1380s as knights intervened on Gotland to curb piracy disrupting Baltic trade. This brief occupation from 1398 restored order to key routes, temporarily boosting harbor duties and facilitating timber exports to Flemish shipyards, enhancing the region's overall contributions before the island was relinquished in 1408. By the close of the 14th century, the order's holdings reflected a robust domain, with valued lands, fortifications, reserves, and inventories supporting operations that outperformed many contemporaries in efficiency. In comparative terms, around 1400, the Teutonic budget stood strong against individual rivals like Poland or Lithuania, controlling significant shares of Baltic grain and amber flows alongside full oversight of Samland resources. Its infrastructure encompassed hundreds of castles, numerous ports, extensive roads, and mints, forming a cohesive network. This medieval powerhouse channeled Europe's resources through fortified logistics, minted reliable currency, and dominated key trades, pioneering economic strategies ahead of their time. At its height from 1400 to 1409, the order balanced growth and stability, though the defeat at Grunwald in 1410 marked the beginning of its decline, leaving a legacy that influenced later financial practices. The Battle of Grunwald in 1410 marked a catastrophic turning point for the Teutonic Order, where their forces clashed against a larger Polish-Lithuanian coalition. Grand Master Ulrich von Jungingen fell in the fray, leading a desperate charge that ended in defeat. The order suffered devastating losses in manpower, artillery, and morale, with numerous knights slain or captured and vital equipment seized. This single engagement depleted years of accumulated resources, ballooning war debts and straining the order's financial foundations, as replacement costs far outpaced annual surpluses. The Peace of Thorn in 1411 compounded the crisis, forcing the Teutons to ransom prisoners and cede territories that eroded their economic base. Valuable lands and castles were relinquished, slashing revenues from grain production and trade routes. Mounting interest on loans from merchants consumed a growing share of income, triggering a liquidity shortfall as creditors demanded immediate repayments amid the order's weakened position. Currency woes deepened between 1415 and 1425, as mints increasingly debased coins by alloying silver with copper to boost short-term gains. While this initially inflated seigniorage profits, it eroded trust. Merchants abroad discounted Teutonic payments, and grain buyers sought alternatives, leading to substantial export declines. The amber trade, once a cornerstone, faltered as scandals drove buyers to rival sources, further hollowing out revenues. The 13 Years' War erupted in 1454, sparked by rebellions in Prussian cities like Danzig and Thorn against burdensome taxes and post-Grunwald vulnerabilities. The conflict culminated in the Second Peace of Thorn in 1466, where the order forfeited West Prussia, key coastal access, and major grain ports. This territorial amputation triggered a sharp revenue contraction, while the Livonian branch began asserting greater autonomy, eventually severing ties by 1561 and taking regional income streams with it. Under Polish oversight, the remnants of the order in East Prussia clung to sovereignty, but lost vast agricultural heartlands and amber operations. Failed debt restructurings led to defaults, prompting seizures of assets by the Hanseatic League. Interest burdens soon eclipsed military allocations, establishing chronic deficits that undermined the order's viability. The final unraveling came with secularization in 1525, when Grand Master Albert von Hohenzollern embraced Lutheranism, dissolved the monastic structure, and transformed the order's holdings into the Duchy of Prussia as a Polish fief. By then, assets had dwindled dramatically, cash reserves depleted, castles sold or ceded, inventories diminished, while liabilities soared, resulting in negative equity that signaled effective bankruptcy.
The Livonian segment met a separate fate during the Livonian War from 1558 to 1583, losing key cities like Riga and Reval to invading coalitions. Revenues plummeted as territories fragmented, with remaining strongholds liquidated to support aging knights by the 1580s. The order's full dissolution spanned 219 years from its papal founding, a shorter lifespan than peers like the Hospitallers due to overambitious expansions financed through unsustainable debts. In retrospect, the Teutons' aggressive leveraging, mirroring risks in later financial collapses, proved fatal. Peak efficiencies in trade and minting gave way to inflation, territorial losses, and internal revolts, eroding infrastructure from hundreds of castles and ports to mere remnants. Grain and amber monopolies dissolved into Polish crown assets, leaving a legacy of innovative yet precarious medieval statecraft. Ultimately, the order's blend of holy mission and calculated enterprise succumbed to the arithmetic of coalition warfare and economic overreach, a cautionary tale in the perils of unchecked ambition.